All right, okay.
You all good?
Yeah.
LJ, you ready?
Ready.
We're gonna call the Delta County Board of County Commissioners regular meeting for July 18th, 2023 together. Please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Do we have any additions or edits to the agenda?
I have none.
We need to remove, ratify warrants, item number 2.
Anything else? If not, we'll approve the agenda as stands. Can we get the signage? Great. Constituent time. Please join us and make sure the mic is on if you would, please.
Good morning. Becky Lightfoot, 19,500 G Road.
There you go.
Delta, Star Nelson Airport.
Good morning,
How's that?
Ms. Lightfoot.
Good morning. I have to start with a correction, I guess probably an apology. I found out there's an actual group called the Coalition. I am not aligned with that group, even though I don't disagree with anything they have to say. And I believe the last time I was here and I spoke, you said the word coalition. I agreed to the word coalition, and it sounded like I was representing the coalition, which I am not. As we, Richard and I, travel around the county though, we have come across so many people that are so unhappy with all of you. And they're forming small pockets and small groups. And in my mind, when I talk about those people that we are meeting, I refer to them as the coalition because I don't know what to call them. But there's so many of them. I'm not sure you're aware of how many people are unhappy with you and your choices. I'm not going to speak for all of them, but I will say I'm a little surprised that when you make your major decisions that really hurt people that already live here, I haven't met anybody that has said you have reached out to them to say, what can we do about this? How can we correct this? How can we keep you here in Delta? We're not trying to push you out. We're not trying to lower your property value, which you have. People around us have moved out at a loss because of the solar farm. And I'm really surprised that none of you have reached out to any of those people that were already here before you made the decision to change your lives. So that's one of the problems I have with this whole thing is I really want to like you guys. I really want to be friendly and all of that, but I haven't seen you make any decisions that I think are really right for Delta. And when I come to meetings and nobody else is here, or people look at each other like, why are they here? Why are they here? It makes me want to keep coming because I don't understand why you would question why we would come. I'm used to coming to meetings where the rooms are packed. Somebody shows up with a case of water bottles. Somebody grew strawberries and brought them in. We're all, hey, hi, nice to see you. And I don't get that vibe here. And I just find it odd considering this is Delta, not Orange County, California. And it just feels so sterile. And I don't know, I'm surprised. I'm going to keep telling you that. I think you can do better. I want to like you. And it's just not happening yet. So good morning. And that balloon festival was incredible. We looked straight across at it. It was so pretty.
Thank you for being here today and sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you.
Anybody else, Mr. Cloward? Okay. Anybody online? Okay. Very good. We'll move into county clerk business. Terry?
Good morning, Commissioners. I have minutes for the June 20th regular meeting. Is there any corrections, deletions, or changes that need to be made?
I have none.
Good to me.
I also have the minutes for the July 5th regular meeting are the same. Are there any changes, deletions, or corrections?
I have none.
Looks good.
I have one on line 33.
On the 5th,
Yes,
okay,
it's Mark Sullivan. There's a T on the end.
thank you. That changed. I also have, for your consideration, a temporary limited winery for Chill Switch Wines that will be located at 24,621 Tannen Road in Cedar Edge. The dates for that will be September 10th, from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. There was permission granted by the landowner. You have that in your packet, as well as a serving alcohol plan and a map of the where they're going to actually hold this. It kind of gives you an idea of where everything is at. Do you have any questions?
All the applicable fees and everything else is.
Everything has been done. I received this one from the state. I don't believe they realize they have to have local authority permission as well. So the state has already received this application.
Well, I'll move that the board approve the temporary limited winery for Chill Switch Wines to be located at 24,621 Tannen Road in Cedar Edge for September 10th, 2023 from 12 to 5 p.m.
I second that.
Any other discussion on that? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
We'll move into commissioner business. Lisa Tafoya is not here yet, so we're going to move down to item 3, the Delta Housing
We have
Authority.
the
Presentation.
presentation.
Oh, we got-
Chris is on the.
Is he ready? Can he hear us now?
I can hear you.
Good morning,
Uh,
Chris.
The host has my video stopped, so you can't see me. There we go. All right. Good morning.
Introduce yourself and for everybody in the room, tell us why you're presenting today.
Thank you. My name is Chris Herman, and my day job is the Executive Director of Colorado Canyons Association. We're the friends group with Bureau of Land Management for Gunnison Gorge National Conservation Area, Dominguez Escalante National Conservation Area, and McGinnis Canyons National Conservation Area. Our primary mission is community stewardship of those landscapes. A couple years ago, Colin Ewing, who was the National Conservation Areas manager, encouraged me to help get one of these new regional partnerships started. At that point, in the peak of the pandemic, we were seeing just an incredible increase in usage. That usage was not based on leave no trace principles and that sort of thing. We basically were getting overrun and loved to death. So last year, we got a grant from the Colorado Parks and Wildlife to do some planning to plan. And I'm going to share my screen here to show this map. Can you all see that map?
Now we can.
Okay, so we're one of the regional partnerships. There's now 16 of those around the state. We've been encouraged that this is a regional partnership, and thus looking at Montrose, Delta, and Mesa counties. During our first year of planning to plan, we stood up a little steering committee, and the main thing that we did was community outreach to start to see what the issues were and what the constituents were thinking. I'm going to share another screen here. And so we held 5 sessions over the winter 2 virtual and 3 in person, 1 in person in each of the 3 counties. And you can see we had, fairly decent turnout for a new unheard of topic. Very good representation from government and the resource agencies, business, tourism, and about 24 of the various public land user groups and that sort of thing. So from that result, we move forward with a second grant, sort of an implementation grant, a 1-year implementation grant. We were awarded that in June. And now I'm going to share our new timeline and just talk you through a little bit of what we're planning for the coming year here. So after we got the grant, we had a first meeting to really formalize and stand up a steering committee. Commissioner Kuntz was part of that meeting, hosted there in your county offices. We're gonna organize a meeting in August. I'm trying to pin down the date for that right now. We'll probably have that meeting in Montrose. We're just trying to move these meetings around a little bit to get regional representation and share the travel. Our plan is to formalize that steering committee. We're thinking that it's going to be probably a 15-person steering committee, and then hopefully a representative from each of the 3 counties and a representative from the various land management agencies, Forest Service, BLM, Colorado Parks and Wildlife. Then we're going to formalize our name. The Two Rivers name that we put in the initial application was, I had to think up a name. I had 5 minutes to 4 for a 4 o'clock deadline. And so that's where the original name came from. It's not representative of the 3 counties. And so we had an exercise at our meeting last month to come up with a better name. So we'll finalize the steering committee. We'll finalize the name. We'll work on a decision-making matrix of how we make decisions. Once we have that steering committee and name finalized, we'll start to do some brand identity, get a web page. We're going to convene an advisory committee 4 times a year throughout the year. And hopefully by end of September, we'll be ready to do some project planning. And our initial projects are going to be low lift, probably a lot of education, things that everybody can build trust around and feel good around. And we're hoping that we can do a couple of those in the fall and then a couple of those in the spring. Once we get through the fall season, we're going to start to look at community surveys, mapping, all those sorts of things, try and figure out where the conflicts are between wildlife and recreation, where recreation is having an outsized impact on the neighbors or on agriculture, all those sorts of things. So we really haven't started, other than anecdotally, capturing any of that sort of information. Once we get some data going, start to look at longer term project plans, start to think about additional funding, and by next spring, have some sort of a partnership structure in place. Colorado Canyons Association now for the 2nd year is running these funds through our organization. I'm hoping that we can have some more permanent structure. I'm not sure what that would be, and then submit a next grant and hopefully be able to retain some sort of contractor as a partnership coordinator. most of these other partnerships around the state have somebody who's doing that work as a primary function and not doing it off the side of their desk as a volunteer. I can't do it justice. You all understand how that works. So anyway, that's the quick run through. Commissioner Kuntz, if you'd like to add anything, or if there's any questions from the other commissioners, or I can't tell, is that Robbie sitting there? All I can see is a set of hands.
It is. Thanks. Chris.
Okay, hi, good morning. Thank you. Yeah, any comments or questions?
Well, on Delta County's part, we are engaged in this, so one, we can manage the resources we have here as far as recreation goes and do it on truly partnership type program with all the federal and state agencies, and also protect traditional uses, hunting, fishing, both motorized and non-motorized access to public lands. So, and the counties will probably be Montrose, Delta, and Mesa will be more on an advisory committee instead of a real active participant there. So, so any questions? Staff?
No, go ahead.
I really don't have any questions. I just, I just hope that we can keep access to the river as a forefront, with the, especially the Escalante Dominguez NCAs. I mean, they cut off a lot of access to the river in that process. A lot of places that people have gone for generations, they now won't get to unless they can make a mile or so hike. So I just hope that access is one of the key components of this process.
Yeah, and Commissioner, thank you. This process is not about resource management plans. It's not about travel management plans. It's not about county comprehensive plans. Those things will all continue to have their own processes. This is about where we can come together on common ground issues and find locally driven solutions. We all know that things are getting loved to death, and we all know that that's impacting, not only our wildlife, but, our quality of life, our private property, all those sorts of things. And so we're not gonna insert ourselves into any of those processes. Hopefully there will be people at the table who might butt heads in some of those other processes, but can come to our table and find that common ground and work on some pragmatic solutions. We're obviously not going to solve all the issues that we're facing, but hope that we can make some progress.
Thanks for being here and presenting what you presented, and the graphs are a lot of information in there, but thanks for what you do.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Chris. When's our next meeting?
I'm working on that now, Commissioner. Mid-August, probably that second week of August, just trying to figure that out. And we'll reach out to the folks who were at the last meeting and make sure that we're not just picking a terrible date where everybody's off in the mountains somewhere.
Very good.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Excuse me. You guys are always welcome to attend with me on these.
Okay.
Commissioner Business, Lisa Tafoya. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Commissioner Bobby.
Good morning.
Guys. This morning, I'm here to present the semi-annual report, which is a summary of the financial activity from January 1st to June 30th, 2023. All activity is accounted for. The only item that I wanted to bring to your attention is on page 2, fund number 0900, which is prepaid taxes and holding. On the ending report for December 31st, that did have a balance of $78,395.99. On this report, it's reflecting a 0 simply because at the end of the year, people have prepaid taxes. we wash that balance out effective 12/31 after we get the tax roll. That's why it's reflecting a zero balance on the January 1 report. Are there any questions?
Are you seeing any of these funds having a big change, positive or negative?
I did see a large
variance?
increase in the payment in lieu of taxes.
What line item is that?
That is on the first page, 0170. We did have that was an increase of 964,000, basically $1 million when compared to the June 30th, 2022. When you're looking at those balances, you'll see that type of an increase. In addition, there was a decrease in the grants line item. We're showing a zero here, where we're showing 135,805.71 on the June 30th report. And last but not least is the 0230 capital improvements. We're showing 2,227,000. It was showing 5,257,761 on the June 30th report.
The PILT increase is there was a double PILT payment provided that had not previously PILT had come in annually. And then during this recent period, then there was 2 payments that had come in. So
Why is that?
that was part of the American Rescue Act.
And capital improvements, is that due to payments for
All of our construction. Yes.
Other questions, commissioners?
Well, thank you, Lisa, for report. Always appreciate the work you put into this. So.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, I'm happy you like numbers. Thank you. A lot of good work to you and your staff.
Is this an action item? Do we need to formally accept this?
Board, I'll move that the board accept the semi-annual report of Delta County Treasurer.
I second that.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you
so
Appreciate the
much.
hard work.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.
Now we get to the Delta Housing Authority quarterly financial. Probably doesn't have a computer.
I will move that the board approve the quarterly financial status report from CDBG housing projects. Agreement number H1 CDB 31209. Project period 8/12/2021 through 6/30/2023. And a reimbursement amount of $11,765.06 and authorize the chairman to sign.
I second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So then, we'll move into the board's consideration of final bid tally for RFP 20, Delta County Sheriff's Office remodel.
In front of you, you have the 3 bids that were submitted for the sheriff's office remodel. This remodel includes all of the interior work to be done to the sheriff's office, also includes the civil work to be done outside for driveway, curb and gutter, ingress and egress. I have had extensive meetings with the low bidder to make sure everything was copacetic. And they have a good firm grasp of the project and have everything into consideration. And so therefore, I'm going to recommend to the board that we accept bidder number 3, North Peak Construction, that came in at $1,411,662.17. Once again, they have everything and they're $200,000 lower than the next bid. So you guys have any questions?
Yeah, we worked with this company.
We have not. They are quasi new to the governmental construction scene. They've only been doing it for a couple of years now. They were primarily a upper end home builder. But I've talked to a few of the subs and say they're good company to work for and they do a good job, so.
And you said it'd be completed by December 1st.
That was one of the keys that we put out when we started this project, was that we needed it to be done by December 1st so we could have sheriffs move in, so we could be prepared to start the jail remodel early, like January 2024. So it's gonna be a bit of a push, but the sheriff and under sheriff worked pretty hard to keep this project as simple as possible as far as remodel. And I think we've beat this thing up pretty hard, and I think we've come up with a pretty good plan to get this thing done and get it done right. So.
And you think they have the staff to dedicate to this project?
Yeah, I mean, they're a general contractor, so it's mostly about who they hire as subs. And they've got a good crew of subcontractors to get this done, so.
Sheriff Taylor, anything to add here?
I really don't have anything to add. My staff is extremely excited for this project to get going and see the end product. And we're also excited for the remodel for the jail side of things too. So I appreciate all the Commissioner Supas's efforts in getting this project off.
Yes, Commissioner Supas has put a lot of work into this. He has construction knowledge and knows how to hammer out a good deal. Thank you for all your time.
Yeah, very frugal with county funds, I know that.
So having said that, I move that we accept
We
bid.
already got a motion.
I just made a suggestion. I didn't make a motion.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
okay. I move that we accept bidder number 3, North Peak Construction, 305 Main, out of Grand Junction, Colorado, for 2023 RFP-20 in the dollar amount of $1,411,662.17.
I'll second the motion.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So done. Done, thank
Thank you.
No problem. No problem.
you. I know you worked very hard to get this done as reasonably as possible. That brings us to the Blakefield Airport Water and Sewer Utility Installation. Don, you want this one too?
So, yeah, so
Is Tim going to join us?
I don't think so. We started this process with the city of Delta. It was one of my first meetings as a commissioner to hammer out an agreement with the city of Delta to allow us to get water and sewer up at the airport. We finally got agreements with the city at the end of last year. We were able to get a grant from Department of Transportation for part of this utility project. We got a grant for $135,000, I believe was the exact amount. So we put this out to bid. Interestingly enough, we had pretty good interest in this project, but what was crazy was the difference in dollar amount. We had a high bid of $612,000 and a low bid of $206,000. I spent a lot of time with the low bidder, Landmark EPC, to make sure that we had everything covered. And we went over the entire plan from ground up, every aspect of it. And they have it covered. They were quite concerned that they were missing something because, they were $100,000 less than the next bidder. So at the end of all the meetings and discussions, they still feel certain that they can complete the project within that dollar amount. And I'm confident that they can do that. Of course, with any project that we do that incurs this amount of public funds, there will be performance bonding required. And I we spent a lot of time to make sure, and I think that they can get it done, and they think they can get it done, and it's by far the closest to what we've got under our grant. We're still gonna have to come up with some money out of capital to pay the extra. But given the amount of growth we've got out at the airport, our current taxi lane that we are building on now, we're about one hangar away from being full. So we're getting a lot more interest in our airport out there. And this is going to be a huge benefit to those.
Can you
hangars out there.
explain what kind of build out this water and sewer will allow?
So basically, if you look at the farthest northeast taxiway we have out there, there is an existing city sewer line out there near the end of that road, 1575 road. Is it 1575, 1525? 1525, I think. Near at the end of that road, there's an existing sewer manhole. This will take that sewer line and feed the existing hangars right there at that turnaround at the end of the driveway. And then it will head northeast and then back again towards the northwest up that next taxiway. This will feed the current taxiway and the taxiway that's yet to be built. Or hangar way, I should say. It's not really a taxiway. So the next row of hangars, this will also service them. We have the engineering to continue past that when we get to that point, but right now we're just worried about getting that connected. This will provide a 6-inch water line connecting to the existing water line that's up there that feeds along 1525 road and will tie into their main line that actually runs underneath our runway. So it will technically loop the line and give better fire flow if necessary. So it is an extensive project, but it's going to be really good for our airport, and it's going to help us with those hangar owners that bring in, these larger aircraft. We have a hangar that, as you guys know, that we just signed a lease on a month ago, I think, and he is building a 212-foot by 62-foot hangar up there. And this will feed his hangar also. So this will be good for economic development in our county.
So you're recommending bidder number 4 Landmark?
I am.
Any other questions on that, Mike?
No, none. Well, I move that we accept bidder number 4 for 2023 RFP-21 Landmark EPC LLC, 5803 Lockheed Avenue from Loveland, Colorado, in the amount of $206,339.
I'll second the motion.
Any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
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 Aye. Again, thank you, Bill.
Thank you, guys.
That brings us to the end of the commissioner business. At 9:30, we'll have human services with Annie Gallegos. We'll recess until 9:30, about 26 minutes. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Good morning again, everybody. We're going to come back on record. There is some unfinished commissioner business that we were reminded of. So we're going to go ahead and turn it over to Commissioner Supras.
So I apologize, board. I was a little remiss when we discussed the RFPs that we approved. We really need to give authorization to enter into contract on both of those, just given the timelines that we have to meet. So I would like the board to give approval for me to enter into contract with both those entities that we approved on those RFPs.
So you want to introduce them one at a time then?
Probably better.
Just doing the motion.
Well, I move that we give Commissioner Supus the authority to enter into contracts with 2023 RFP-20, which is the Delta County Sheriff's Office remodel.
And that's North Peak Construction.
North Peak Construction. I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 And I also move that Commissioner Supus has the authority to enter into contract with 2023 RFP 21 Blakefield Airport Water and Sewer Utility Installation.
And that was Landmark EPC.
Landmark EPC.
And I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, so done. Thank you for reminding us of that, Commissioner. Next, we have calendar with Lindsay Mitchell.
Good morning. This afternoon at 1 to 3 p.m. we have a work session on the land use code. On July 18th, we have a Board of Health meeting. On July 26th, there is 8 a.m. emergency and disaster considerations for executive course. And then we skip down, unless you have anything else, to July 28th, which is our community night, kicking off the Delta County Fair. We'll have free food. The commissioners will be barbecuing hamburgers. We'll have a beer garden that will be staffed by the Fair Board. And we will also have live music. So it starts at 6 p.m. at the Delta County Fairgrounds in Hotchkiss. We hope to have a big turnout this year. Anything I'm missing?
Who is the live music?
The North
It's
Fork
Leona.
Country.
Leona
just raised her
Anderson?
hand,
Leona.
I raised my hand.
It's Leona acapella.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going. We'd have a good turnout, for sure. It's a North Fork Country that's
Thank you.
going to perform. Sir, anything I'm missing on the calendar that you see? Usual.
You want to talk to the library?
Go ahead.
On the 19th, there is a soft opening of the new Delta Library. And it's possible one or more commissioners will be attending that.
And I will get on.
Anything else, commissioners?
Nope.
Our next Board of County Commissioners meeting is August 1st, Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. here. And then, of course, fair that whole week.
Your last until August 6th.
Anything else then? I am going to do the jail report. This is the jail, the Delta County Detention Facility Population Count Report for Sunday, July 16th. Male inmates, county jail 23, female inmates, county jail 4. Male inmates, Department of Corrections 6, female inmates, DOC at 0 for a total of 33. The average daily inmate population for the week of July 9th through July 15th was 40.5. That will then lead us into Human Services. Thank you for your patience. And you too, Leona.
All right, good morning, everyone. We will go ahead and start traditionally with the financials. Leona Mori.
So the state is officially closed through May of 2023. We're holding our breath waiting for June to close at the state because it's the state fiscal year end. I pulled a few reports this morning, so far so good, nothing disastrous or earth shaking. We did for June sell some of our allocation to Jefferson County. We had an allocate, we started with an allocation of $842,048. At the end of May, we had spent $642,132. And the state has a formula they come up with as far as what the county maintenance of effort is, and it's based on our allocation. And so if we move some of that allocation to another county, then our MOE goes down a little bit. So I believe it's going to save us about $20,000 because they go back to the beginning of last fiscal year and make that adjustment.
That's the TANF allocation.
TANF, what did I say?
You just said allocation.
Oh, sorry. TANF, the Colorado Works. And we only did 60. We could have done more, but because of the food stamp drop, I felt that we might want to hold back a little bit to see if anybody would apply for TANF due to the fact that their food stamps dropped tremendously, but so far that hasn't happened, so. The other thing, we get claims, clients pay in county recoveries and then sometimes it's a cross claim. So when Denver, we collected an X amount of dollars and Denver took the money and then they had to pay us back and we actually got the check for $4,500, which is sometimes it does not happen where the county's giving back the money. So we were getting that in June. And then we had, in May, we had some non-reimbursable payments to child welfare providers. We were able to go through the payroll and get those corrected. So in June, we received that 80% back. So.
And that came from a glitch from CFMS. It wasn't anything
Yeah.
county level.
Yeah, it's like if they change a rate, if the state changes a rate or changes a date, it'll go back. Because if they work just like Medicaid, they'll reimburse you back to 120 days. Anything older, they consider not a reimbursement until we go through a whole process and they give us the money back. So far, so good. Any questions on anything?
Is the state real prompt in sending out the payments?
Oh, yes, as soon as they close, they wire transfer the money. Yeah. Yeah, that's about, I mean, CDHS accounting is probably one of the best out of all the state accounting systems. I wish CDPHE would pick up some hints from them.
Good luck with that.
I know.
Any other questions for Leona? I'm certainly glad you have a firm grasp on that.
Oh, I just love it. And you know my prom's coming up for budget. Budget season is my prom season.
Good to know.
Okay.
Thinking about financials a little bit, we did post for the budget manager position. We have received several applicants, and so we'll be starting interviews this next week. So I'm hoping to give Leona a little bit of relief as she heads into prom. Okay, the next item we have is an agenda item for the core services program. So the core services is the allocation that makes up all of our therapeutic services to provide to families. So it includes mental health treatment, substance abuse treatment, life skills, mentoring, in-home services, and some county design plans. And we have a few county design plans to include the day treatment program, in which we fund the school district to provide therapy and behavioral health services within the school setting. We also have a design plan for drug-free Delta County, which continues to support the family drug court program through dependency and neglect cases and provide supportive services. They do that activity calendar, they do rec center passes, we do reunification celebrations, graduation celebrations, and then they also provide parenting classes, anger management, and life skills to those clients individually. And then the other county design programs are around visitation and mentoring. So those are the specific ones that are county design, and then the rest is based off the allocation for the providers we contract with that do not accept Medicaid. So core services is the payer of last resort. And so we only have a few Medicaid providers in our community. So we end up with about 40 to 50, kind of ebbs and flows a little bit depending on the services we need that we contract with throughout the year to pay for services for families. So this plan outlines, and it's much better, I think, than it has been in the past. In the past, they would give us our total allocation and then have us estimate how much we anticipate to spend, which is difficult. So what we ended up doing this year, the state revised the plan to turn it into percentages. And so we were able to pull a report to see over the last year how much money we spent in each service when it came to substance abuse treatment, structured parenting time, mental health, sexual abuse treatment, day treatment, domestic violence, things like that. We were able to look at what we've spent over this last year to then estimate the percentages that we'll spend in our allocation this next year. And the nice part about it is even if we go above or below what we estimate, they don't hold us to only staying within those percentages. So we can still move those around depending on the needs of families, their individual needs throughout the year. And so this plan is due every year. We also, the other piece that we fund out of that is 0.75 of a caseworker that's funded through them. And what we can do with that is it means that the caseworker salary is not just coming out of the block as other traditional caseworkers are, but this allows us to be unique in creating services that a caseworker can do. In the past, we have used it as a sexual abuse component because we had forensic interviewers on staff, and so we were able to use that time for those projects. But we're also looking at expanding services to include coaching. One of the things that we're finding is that through the state Academy for Training for Child Welfare, it's not sufficient enough to meet the needs. And so the burden falls onto the county specifically to provide that training. And sometimes with capacity, that can become very difficult. So we are looking at a potential for a child welfare coach with an experienced worker over many, many years that would come in and work with caseworkers individually for all the things the academy misses in training.
So you're still looking for that person, is that?
Well, we're in conversations with potentially someone who has moved to this area but spent, I want to say about 30 years and actually in Nevada. And did training programs for all of the caseworkers in that state. So there's some nuances there we would need to work out of whether she's a contracted person, whether we want to bill it as an FTE person, but we have some wiggle room within our plan to start navigating that as a new chapter for us to really look at how if we want to keep caseworkers, how are we ensuring we're training them so that they feel like they have all the tools they need in the field. So that's kind of a new piece for this. So we're excited about that and hoping to finalize that over this next year, but we included it in the plan.
Any other changes in your plan besides this trainer position from?
No, I don't think so. Nope. And so this one will actually come, if the board approves it, it would come through DocuSign. That's state loves DocuSign now. So it would be sent to you guys that way for the chair to sign.
Any questions for Annie? On this core program.
I think it's the training thing is a solid approach. You know, when you know what you're doing in your job, it's a lot easier to stay with your job, feel more comfortable in what you're doing. So I think the training is going to be really key to keeping the people. So I give kudos on that aspect of it. So.
And I'd really like to commend Haley for that piece of it. There was, I think there was people in the community have kind of heard Delta County is in child welfare has done well to their workers, but has been developing a lot of new things. And so they also sought Haley out in that piece. And so it was really a nice blend to be able to start thinking about the last couple months. So. Yeah.
Well done, Haley.
Very good. Well, I'll move that the board approve the core services program for state fiscal year 2023 through 2024 and authorize the chairman to sign.
I second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So done.
Thank you. Next piece on our review items is the statement of work for the Homeless Navigator Grant. We had received that about, I want to say 2 months ago. Was it a month ago? It was 2 months ago. It was a grant we had applied for in conjunction with ensuring that this would help support the county and the city and what they're trying to do. And so we had submitted for that position. It would be housed under Hilltop for that position, and they'll work with the city and work within the county as a whole. They awarded us $115,000 as the full grant. There's no county match to that. And so they have hired the navigator for that position already, and she began her employment this last month. And so this is the full statement of work for you all to view and see what the plan for this. It does talk about maintaining an ongoing caseload of 15 to 30 individuals or families. to help develop housing plans and support individuals from planning to application to move in. And then it also provides outreach to 75% or more of the county's unhoused cash assistance clients. And they will receive training through Hilltop received an emergency solutions grant, which is they do a first ESG utilizing housing training curriculum. So they'll go through that training piece as they navigate through this next year for that position. I didn't know if you had any questions on it because I know you guys wanted to see that.
I had a question. How many unhoused people do we have, you think, in Delta County?
To be honest with you, I would have thought originally we had a much higher number in the city. I don't think I have an exact number to be able to tell you. But what I did find out is that as we were writing this grant, Hilltop had already had navigator positions in which they were already working with 10 families in the North Fork area that were unhoused. So, which surprised me. I think that, our definition of unhoused is much broader than we think it is. And so somebody who's just staying with a friend temporarily or in their car or couch surfing. And so anywhere from, really being on the streets to trying to navigate that through hotels and situations. So I think the number is bigger than we think. And I could probably find out specifically within this next month as they've navigated that piece with the city as well, if they're keeping data on that exact number, and I can report back on that in future reports.
Would you please?
I sure can.
Just
Mhm.
an order of magnitude.
Yeah.
How many people can we help with this kind of effort?
Yeah, and we have, our plan at this time is to meet virtually once a month and then quarterly for data tracking numbers and all of those types of things. So we'll be able to report back on that as well.
Do we have a classification system? Because I chatted with a couple out here in front of the future sheriff's office here a couple weeks ago. And they made it pretty clear that they didn't want to live anywhere, that they didn't want housing.
Right.
So do we have a classification of those that truly want it versus those that are happy not having a home?
Yes, so I think that lends to the outreach piece and to the families that they carry on the case so that they're actively searching for housing for and making progress towards that goal. The outreach piece is if they decide that that's what they want to do, here's your resources, here's your connections, and continue to engage them. But it's their choice ultimately if they're going to want to engage into any type of service. But that's part of the outreach piece. But there will be, there are individuals who make that choice. And we can't change that, but we can provide them with everything we know and they can make the decision to participate or not.
Okay.
In the olden days, we would have called them Lewis and Clark.
Right. No, it's, like I said, I've spoken to a few of them out there and it just seems like, it's amazing how many of them are just passing through too, on their way to some other destination. So.
And part of that also helps if they needed a bus ticket or things like that. And that's included in our GA plan as well, that if they need assistance to get to another place, we can provide that as well.
Once they get into a house, what are the requirements for the individuals? Do they actively have to seek employment?
So it would probably depend on which housing they were at. So they're not going to want to put, you don't want to put a Band-Aid on it and say, sure, I'm going to pay your first, last and deposit and here you go. But you then have no idea how to pay going forward. That would be setting them up for failure. And so I think part of the education is sustaining that, building some life skills with them about job seeking. And it's hard to case manage individuals who aren't in the single location. So if we can get them to a single location originally, meet them where they're at, and then continue to build on their skills from there, that would be the essential goal. But the housing piece will be hard sustainability wise if they're not working towards other goals to ensure that lasts a long time. But that's the case management piece of it, to follow and help them get to the workforce center, help them get to our building, see what resources are available there. It would help connect them more long-term.
Thank you.
How many open positions do you have in your departments now? I keep
well,
asking you this.
I know, and it's not a great number to tell you today. So we had a child support technician that just resigned her position to work with her husband. We had the lead case manager in OLTC leave in June, and then we had another case manager that just resigned. I think her last day is this week, Friday. Eligibility, we had a retirement, 27.5 years. Priscilla, you guys remember that. We also have another technician who is leaving after she delivers. And we have a child welfare case manager or caseworker that is anticipated to leave at the end of the month for medical issues.
So I counted 6 there, I think.
It's 6, yep. So hopefully we'll have some applications. We received several applications for the budget manager position, and eligibility, when that's open, we usually receive a lot. So, and OLTC is one that usually doesn't hang out there too long. It's usually child welfare that hangs out the longest, sorry.
Any other questions for Annie and her team here? Could you tell us about this certificate of appreciation?
Yes, so this is the distinguished awards that they do. And so they did, we got a distinguished county performer, and it was the deepest gratitude for the hard work and dedication to ensure at least 95% timeliness of benefit applications. So that comes from the state. We'll be presenting it with some goodies to the eligibility staff on their staff meeting on Thursday. And so this is, I think, their second year, because they received it the year before as well. Even working through COVID, they received that same award. So despite the challenges of staffing internally, they've been continuing to process. And I think Lori would definitely want you guys to know, in the last 2 weeks, maybe 2.5, we have received the most applications at one time than we ever have.
It's increasing usually around this time of the year before school starts. We start to see higher applications, members come in, so.
Very good.
we'll see that now.
Very good.
We have the newest supervisors that we transitioned in, they're doing appointments as well.
Good job. Good
We're
job.
very excited to celebrate that.
And school starts on August 14th, is that correct?
Yes, so it's a little bit of a stagger for those few days, just because I think, for the high school and middle school, 6th grade, and then freshmen go first day, and then the rest of the classes go the next day, and kindergarten staggers too. So we'll stagger, but that'll be a very exciting week. Last update that I had was the OLTC single entry point for the RFP update. In the initial round, they awarded several catchment areas except for a few. Pueblo County, our county, and I think there's one other county that didn't receive that initial award. So then we worked with necessarily, but he is an individual who has worked in that field with the CCBs in the past, and so was aware of some of the pieces that we could potentially be missing on our application. So Michelle sat down and reworked some of those pieces with him. We resubmitted, which we were encouraged to do. And so we resubmitted that on the 30th, and we're hoping to hear this week or not. And then that'll be our next steps. We'll go from there. But I think Michelle worked really hard on it initially. And so she added like 20 more pages. It was a significant addition. So, and Pueblo was doing the same thing. We kind of reached out to them as well. So we were just trying to navigate that piece as well as the other counties to continue to keep that catchment area. So.
Excellent. Let us know.
Yeah.
Very good. Thanks for your hard work.
Anything else anybody wants to add other than what I have?
We get everything?
I think so. That's all I
Well,
have.
thank you guys. And thank you for lunch the other day.
Yes, thank you guys for coming. They love it.
We've got about 5 minutes before county attorney time. Mr. Bear, we'll take a quick recess. Okay, welcome back, everybody. After that short recess, it is now time for County Attorney John Bear. Good morning, Mr. Bear.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. I have one item before the board's consideration this morning. That is under executive session, advice of counsel pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute 246402, sub 4, sub B. The discussion today would be discussion and advice regarding flood control and work on road work completed along Dominguez Canyon Road. I'll remind everyone present during the executive session, a discussion of this legal question and the advice received from counsel constitute a privileged attorney-client communication. Therefore, no record or electronic recording is required to be kept. I remind the board and all present in executive session to limit your discussion to the applicable legal question. And then, Chair, I would presume based upon the published agenda that the board would recess after that.
We'll adjourn following that, yes.
Well, I move that we go into executive session and advice of counsel to discuss Dominguez Canyon Road, 24-6-402, sub 4, sub B, the Colorado Revised Statute. Present at the meeting will be 3 commissioners, Robbie LaValle County Administrator, Terry Stevenson, Clerk and Recorder, Lindsay Mitchell, Public Informations, Tim McCracken, County Engineer, Mark McMillan, Road and Bridge District 1, Scott Sheets, Public Works Director, and John Bear. And we will adjourn after we're through.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.